Hey everybody, welcome to our weekend check-in video for Psych 45 Research Methods for Saturday, February 26th. And just going to go over a few items as I always do and as I always tell you. And just to help you keep on top of things, anything I think you need to know about, clarifications, things coming up, anything for a heads up to help you do well in the course. First up here is just a reminder that your quiz on our current Chapter 6, that will be Monday when we return to class next week. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Do your homework for that there. And also I think I have a note there in the homework there to make sure that you take a look at that end of chapter exercise. I believe it's number 2 on identifying different research strategies that go along with certain descriptions of research that are provided there in that end of chapter exercise number 2. Also, that you will have your discussion for Chapter 6 due next Friday on the 4th, so make sure you're taking a look at that and getting it ready. It's a really interesting thing I kind of gave you a little preview of about using college students. Are they a blessing or a curse when it comes to using them for our participants in our research studies? Next up here, the second item is that don't forget that your second part of your research paper, it's still not due for a little while. It's not due until March 16th there, which is a Wednesday, I believe, but it's an outline, and just like you did for the first part of the paper, you'll go underneath Unit 5 on our course material on our Canvas course page, and there you'll see the dedicated APA module there for your literature review paper. And you'll see a set of instructions there for part 2, or component 2 as I call it, there on the outline, and likewise a dedicated submission area for the outline. Again, it has to be in Microsoft Word. Do take a careful look at the instructions. There's a how-to video there at the top of the instructions to walk you through everything on the instruction page, so definitely take a look at that just to kind of get yourself set up to do that there. And you'll also find a number of sample outlines that I provided there for you. Some are good, some are bad, and some are kind of ugly, so I'm giving you all the good stuff and the bad stuff just to help you avoid making any mistakes there. And you will see a rubric there as well towards the bottom there. It's a file there embedded in the bottom of the instructions there that will help you avoid making any major mistakes. And do be careful to incorporate any feedback I gave you from part 1 of your paper. Some of you did have some issues with your references as far as the APA style and formatting of those, so please do correct that. In the feedback I gave you, pretty clear indication of what the problem was and how to fix that, so please do fix those things. I don't want to see you get docked for the same errors again when it comes to your points, so be careful about that. Next up here is next week on Monday and Wednesday we are going to continue on with Chapter 6. On Monday we are going to finish Chapter 6, and we're going to start with artifacts and then just get to the end of that there. We just kind of left off talking about extraneous variables and confounds last time. You may recall there's related issues called artifacts, which will clarify what those are. Then we'll finish up Chapter 6 and start Chapter 7. And we'll pick up with Chapter 7 as well on Wednesday. Chapter 7 I do devote some time to because it's a really important chapter, because experiments are kind of like the crown jewel of a research strategy there. They're very commonly done in psychology, so we really need to know a lot about them. So what we're going to focus on in Chapter 7 this coming week is what are known as the elements of a quote-unquote true experiment. So do take a look at that there in your book, because I think I already mentioned in class that sometimes people will claim they've, quote, done an experiment, or they're going to, quote, try an experiment, but they really didn't technically meet the real criteria for a true experiment. And this is a technical point, but hey, this is part of what you set this class for, to learn about this stuff, and so by the time this chapter is done, you will really know what constitutes a true experiment versus some other thing that people might call an experiment, but it's not really the real deal. So just keep that in mind, and you'll be glad you know that distinction. It's really important, because when we get to our other research strategies, it will really be helpful to know what constitutes a true experiment and why these other strategies are not real experiments there. Okay? And so we're also going to cover the issues of manipulation and control in experiments next week as well. That's really important, key stuff there. Really defining features of a true experiment, just giving you a little preview of that. And you're going to find that's very helpful in distinguishing other strategies from a true experiment, because true experiments have clear evidence of manipulation and control. And there's some issues around that too regarding causality, which we'll cover next week there. Again, just giving you a heads up so you can see that's about what we're going to cover next week, or at least that's my plan. So otherwise, that's everything I wanted to tell you this time. I hope you're having a good weekend. Looks like the weather's warming up, so that's great. If you need anything in the meantime, however, before Monday, please reach out via email on Canvas, and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I will see you in class on Monday. So take care until then.